Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol, your insider guide to trends, tips, and stress free planning.
Hi, this is Carol.
Hi, and I'm Mindy, and Carol and I are two destination wedding travel specialists and also wedding planners. And combined, we do over 50 destination weddings a year. We are so excited today because we have some special guests. We have Allison and Dan. They are with AIC Hotel Group, which is part of Hard Rock, Unico, Ava, Noble. And we're going to jump in today and just talk about their wedding program. So, Daniel and Allison, welcome.
Yeah,
Well,
welcome.
thank you for having
Thank
us. Excited to
you.
be here.
So let's just dive in. So under AIC, there's lots of different resorts. So if we could maybe just do a quick overview of each of the resorts because they're kind of a little bit different. I know we just have the new Unico opened in Puerto Vallarta. Ava's kind of new. I know Hard Rock Cancun's going to be closing and going through some renovation. So maybe we could just do a quick overview of each of the resorts and maybe give us some insider tips on what you love about each of them. And then we'll dive into the wedding program because I know you guys have an amazing wedding program, but also it works a little bit differently than some other resort brands. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be it's great to go through all the different resorts. I know Alice and I got to visit a lot of them together, so we got to see a little bit of different perspectives. So I guess we'll start with Hard Rock Cancun. As you mentioned, that one is right in the hotel zone, 20 minutes from the airport, 15 minutes from that downtown hub. So for those that do like to explore destinations, it's a great option for them. Personally, that's my favorite beach out of all of our properties is that Hard Rock
Long
Cancun.
Beach, yeah.
Beautiful crystal blue water hotel zone. And as you mentioned, we're undergoing significant renovations this year. So we're very excited for this 2027. We're going to have brand new lobby, wide open, brighter. All of our restaurants, the ambiance is going to be elevated. All of the rooms are currently in the process of being renovated as well. So again, elevating the entire experience. And then all of our public spaces, as I mentioned, those are all going to be redone. So that'll be opening up at the end of December. Its location is definitely a perk. It's got beautiful wedding locations with either sunset views or ocean views. You can have both terraces or toes in the sand. So it's a great destination for weddings. It is a high rise, so things are a little bit more action packed as opposed to some of our other resorts, which are more spread out.
Yeah, that's great.
And then you
Um,
have the Hard Rock Riviera Maya.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that one. I
I love
mean,
that one too.
I'm spoiled with that one because I that was my first ever Hard Rock that I ever went to when I got onboarded and 12 years ago. Jeez. Yeah. That was my first ever Hard Rock and I just walked in and I was like, wow. It's also where I got married. So it's a special place in my heart there. And it's also my son's first Hard Rock. So I have a lot of history with that resort. One of the things I love about it is it does have the adults only section called Heaven that has access to the entire family section. So you have this multi-generational uh, ability, right? So whether you're traveling as a wedding and you have your single friends who they don't want to see the kids and they can come over when they want to, or if maybe grandma and grandpa want a little bit more elevated adults only experience, exclusive restaurants, nightclub, etc. In general, that property has something for everybody. It doesn't matter if it's raining, it doesn't matter if there's a storm. We have this indoor vibe city with a playground that's included, a trampoline park that's included, a massive kids club. We have the Rockaway Bay Water Park, and we have a variety of different beachfront or oceanfront locations. Some are air conditioned, some are open air terraces for as many as or as few as 15 for as many as 300. So lots of different options and beautiful convention space. I think the food is phenomenal, one of my favorite parts of that property. A wide variety of options from your traditional American steakhouses to you have the teppanyaki tables, which of course are always popular, to our Italian, to Brazilians. I mean, there's so many different options there in terms of the dining. And one of my favorite venues, I did forget to mention, our rooftop over our Toro Steakhouse. So lots of great options. But I remember,
What
Allison,
was
you
your
stayed at
venue?
my venue.
Well,
I did Woodstock Terrace. So
okay.
I had about 300 people that were RSVP'd as a yes, but my wedding was scheduled for March 21st, 2020.
Oh, wow.
So we ended up having to cancel and rebook and move everything for a year. So, I still had it on the Woodstock Terrace, which is this massive terrace,
Yeah.
but we ended up only having about 70 people.
Yeah.
Still Mr. Popular. That's a good number for destination. Yeah.
And they just built the new venue at Hard Rock Riviera
Yeah.
Maya. So when I was there a couple of months ago, I was with you actually.
Yeah.
They were just opening it. We got to see a little sneak peek. Actually, it wasn't even opened yet.
The, the
We got to,
sanctuary, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a nice venue as well too.
Very nice.
So what I like about that property is there's so many different little areas you can go to.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
And I
so
think,
many different wedding. And I love that it is kind of like not your traditional beach, that it is like a cove as well too.
Super
Especially if
safe
you're
for the
traveling with
kids.
kids, they're a little more contained.
Yes.
and I think,
I
it's an age group too. I mean, like he said that, Daniel said there's anything from every age group. I mean, it's a great property when you have those teens and those preteens as well, because there's so much to keep them busy that if they're part of the wedding group or, anything like that, it becomes more of a vacation time as well, rather than just the wedding gathering.
I completely agree. I feel like in my prior life, before working at AIC, I was able to do the wedding training, our certification program. That was in 2022, and we stayed at Hard Rock Riviera Maya. And I feel like that is where I fell in love with AIC. Just between the food, just the hospitality there. I loved each morning getting up and, walking along that boardwalk from the Hacienda side to the Heaven side, and it's just an amazing place.
Yeah.
I think it's important to also remember just with Hard Rock in general, right? You're starting off with this brand where you have everything that you would expect from a top all-inclusive, but it's all included. It's not, from the entry level all the way to our suites, you don't have to worry about, you know, am I going to get top shelf drinks? It's included. It doesn't matter which room category you're in. Unlimited Wi-Fi, free calls to the US and Canada. Every room has a hydro spa in the room. You don't have to book a specialized room to get that upgrade, if you will. So I think that in general, Hard Rock gives you those guarantees. So when you're looking at us, right, you're looking at our entry level room. We might price a little bit higher than some of the others, but think about the inclusions. You might have to book their second, third, or fourth category just to get what we're giving in our entry level. So just another note there.
I feel like I have a personal experience with that from attending a destination wedding for my partner's cousin at a different brand, and it was a resort, lovely. We had a great time. They had the different levels and adults only versus the club level. And while that's great that all these rooms were offered, we couldn't go to the pool with the aunt because she accidentally like booked not the level we were in. So we were like sneaking her in and like trying to cover her wristband. All of our stuff is like, I like to say, no second class citizens with Hard Rock. You're able to get Grey Goose vodka. You're able to get 24/7 room service, no matter what category you're in. So it just really for weddings, it just simplifies things. And we're not going to have that of, oh, what room did you book? Because I can't go to the restaurant you can go to. So it just makes things a lot easier, in my opinion.
And it's
Well,
all music based.
yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, I think also a really good selling point right now is you guys are giving those resort credits as well.
Mhm.
And that's, to me, that is just a definite, why not? Why not? You're going to pay the same at any other resort for the same level of service, but then you're getting these extra things that you can use for the spa tours. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we have these beautiful golf courses on proper, near property or on property, depending on where you are. You've got spas. I mean, I think, you don't necessarily think Hard Rock, beautiful, relaxing experience, but we have these amazing spas that we've invested heavily into to enhance those experiences and give you that resort credit, that $200 per room per night. And you can utilize that spa, golf, salon in select destinations. We do include tours as well. So it depending on where you are, and then you're paying a 35% service fee, right? So at the end of the day, you're getting almost a 70% discount.
Yeah.
on these awesome services. So your dollar goes farther on things you already want to do. So one of the places that I think the spa is probably my favorite. It's giant is Punta Cana at our Hard Rock Hotel
It's gorgeous.
and casino, Punta
Mhm.
Cana. So it's important to note that is the only property that has a casino. I know, Allison, you stayed a little bit longer at that one
Yes.
than I did.
We had our training week together. Got stayed one extra night to enjoy.
Yeah.
Something Hard Rock Punta Cana, I feel like it has the best gym of any resort. I don't know why, I just love it. It's huge. It's got every single machine you could ever want. So for our fitness buffs, I feel like the Hard Rocks are like a work hard, play hard type of
Mhm.
person wants to go there. Like
Yeah.
we've got our people that want to get up early, walk the beach, hit the gym, maybe take a spa, but then they also want to jump in the pool by noon and maybe have a cocktail. And that's absolutely the brand, I feel.
Yeah, and every
Hard Rock
room
Punta
has
Cana, the beach is just stunning. It
Yes.
really is stunning.
I
yeah,
Where do you feel you get the most requests across our brand for your weddings that you manage?
I would say the majority of mine are in the Cancun or Punta Cana.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Mine as well. But um, I do always my other two favorite resorts in the Hard Rock brand are Puerto Vallarta and Cabo. I don't know. I mean, I think the Puerto Vallarta one is a little lost gem that people tend to forget about.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean it now that they're redoing that one as well. That's going to be a really great one
Mhm.
to work at. I think
Yeah.
it's just me. The beach is nice and big. It's small and compact like the one in Cancun. Um, it just is. It's a great little opportunity. And then with Unico next door, you could do the wedding, and then the couple could go over and have their honeymoon next door. I
Yeah.
think it's a great option.
I
Yeah.
also, when I was working on the agent side, fell in love with Hard Rock Vallarta using my company points, and went during the thick of COVID. I think I was there in January 2021. They did such a good job, we
Mhm.
still had fun and all the things. I feel like I got the best massage I've ever gotten at a resort, at that Hard Rock Vallarta.
I
That
got a
spa is
massage at
amazing.
at that property too, and it was good. It was a nice spa.
So
Um,
what are they gonna do with those rooms? Were they gonna add balconies? Because I know they've always been French balconies. So that's one of the things that, I think would be a change. What do you, Daniel?
what's great is building four is already done. So we've already completed some of the renovations. So we can see what the rooms look like. We have full balconies. We've taken the concrete tub that used to be in the room, and now we've put the more Unico style tub, if you're familiar with that. It's just a
mhm.
longer soaking tub with jets out on the balcony. So we have created that balcony experience
Nice.
as well. And then we've elevated the room. It looks more like an Unico or a Hard Rock Los Cabos room in terms of
Oh,
the decor, a lot more earth tones as opposed to the loud colors, feeling more of a resort. So that's one of the big renovations and updates that we've made. But another one in regards to weddings is we're completely redoing our restaurants. So the Chow restaurant in particular, I mean, it's a beautiful new look. It feels like a very traditional Italian restaurant, but adding a rooftop venue that you can utilize. So now you have these beautiful sunsets, of course, being in the west,
mhm.
and you have this rooftop venue to utilize to take in those sunsets as well. But all of the restaurants are getting a fresh look. Our Zen restaurant, we're adding more teppanyaki tables. In regards to the Mexican restaurant, we're doing some updates there. Our coffee shop, we're getting a proper coffee shop. Before it was kind of like a coffee cart, now we're getting a
In the little
proper
restaurant
coffee.
corner. Yeah, it was in the corner of the restaurant on the way in.
And
Yeah.
the check-in used to feel very much like a cave.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just kind of how I felt. But we opened it up. It's again being a more relaxing and welcoming experience.
Can't
So
wait.
when are all the renovations going to be done in Vallarta?
December 17th. At
Okay.
least that's
Okay.
what they say.
Yeah.
And I
So
also feel Vallarta is a great spot when you have those couples that are, they like the all-inclusive, they want those days at the resort, but it's so accessible to other areas of
Yeah.
Vallarta. We can go down to the Malecon pretty easily. It's close to the marina. I love the boat tours in Vallarta. I
Mhm.
just have this vivid memory of like hundreds of dolphins around the boat, whale watching season. So it's good if you have those people that are like, I don't want to lay by the pool my whole trip. they can
Yeah.
get out pretty easily and safely.
Yeah.
That is
And
also
then,
one of the venues where we utilize the resort credit on tours instead of
Mhm.
a golf course.
yeah. Yeah. But Vallarta is one of my favorite places to go to. There's just so, it reminds me of what I think of when I think of Mexico, not all the commercialized areas and
Mhm.
stuff. My heart's in Vallarta. I love Vallarta. Um, but then we have Unico, which is the adults only brand. And we have the property that just opened in Vallarta. So I have not seen it yet, but I'm hearing great things about it.
I
It's
made sure to
my
go test it for you, you know,
I'm
thoroughly.
going the first time in April. I'm taking my girlfriends. But most of the other BDMs have been. You've been a couple of times, Dan.
Just once, just
Just
once.
once? Okay. Cassidy's been like 7 times or something. Maybe
Oh,
not seven.
wow.
No. They were doing a lot of events there. Yes, so Unico Vallarta, I love this. We actually opened 2 months earlier than scheduled, which in the resort world, we know this never happens. So
Shocking.
Yeah.
that's a bragging point for us. And you better believe in my BDM presentations, I'm bragging about it. But I love this resort for those couples that want to be the only couple there getting married. We do one wedding a day, and that is guaranteed. So we're not gonna, have different times, and they'll be the only couple.
I
We
think,
have a really nice, like the beach is a great venue there, and then we have a rooftop overlooking the water, and we can do full buyouts. We have 141 rooms.
Yeah, it's small, so it's really nice. I really
Yeah.
like that. It's very
and one of the things I love
individual.
about the Unico brand in general is it does have a focus on the local culture, the art, and the food. All right. And an emphasis on wellness as well. Right. So just like at Hard Rock, we are offering those resort credits, those $200 per room per night to utilize in our spa tours, um, and select beauty salon. One of the other things is when you have that foodie client, they're not necessarily thinking about going to an all-inclusive, right? They're not thinking that, they're going to have amazing food at an all-inclusive. Like, it's impossible, right? Well,
Right.
we provide those top shelf drinks. We provide those amazing food and Unico 2105. So the coordinates are in the name again, focusing on that local. That Unico 2105 Riviera Nayarit has no buffet. It is all a la carte. You still get that 24-hour room service. I mean, I'll take the Pepsi challenge with our room service menu versus a lot of all-inclusives a la carte restaurants. It's just phenomenal. The tubs on the balcony, similar to the to our Vallarta prop, our Hard Rock, which is right next door, similar to our Unico property in Riviera Maya, where you can just take in the sunset views from your tub. It's amazing. It's a high rise, so when you're looking at our room categories and you see like ocean view, there might be a palm tree in the way, but that's about it. So the ocean is really the floors 3 to 6 where you might have partially obstructed. If you need that unobstructed view, you want to book the ocean front, which would be the higher levels as well. But the food is a highlight. I mean, I like to tell people I started this job 50 pounds ago. Um, you know, I've made sure to sample everything because I'm thorough. Uh, I went to the spa as well, the hydrotherapy. I mean, the guy was like, "Okay, it's time to go," and I was like, "Can I just a little longer?" He was like, "All right, you can hang out in the pool for a little bit longer." So it really was amazing.
How do you guys
Um,
compare the two Unicos comparably wise, side by side? Kind of give us the differences between the two for people, kind of helping us with that.
I think biggest is size. Unico Riviera Maya is going to be around 450 rooms. So, I mean, it's 4 times the size of Vallarta. A few more restaurants just because of the larger size, more dining options. But I feel like if people like Riviera Maya, they should definitely try our new Unico because they're gonna love
Yeah.
it too. It's
Yeah.
just, culturally it's different. The food is gonna be different because we really do try to use that local culture like into
Mhm.
everything we bring to the resort.
Yeah.
and the nightlife, I think, is a
Oh,
little bit of a difference because at in Vallarta in Riviera Nayarit, it's a high rise, so most of the activity is located right in the main lobby area. So it's not as action packed. Not that 2087 is, some kind of party resort,
Yeah.
but we do have the Palmera Lounge where we have the, live bands, and then we'll have a DJ that goes till about 1 a.m. there. In Riviera Nayarit, it's a little more go with the flow, slower paced. We'll have a band going when I was there, we had this great band and they were doing covers and people were dancing and having a great time. Top shelf cocktails. Our cocktail menu is another highlight. I don't even drink alcohol, and the cocktail menu is phenomenal because they have mocktails at every restaurant, zero alcohol beer on property as well for those where that's a priority. I had I don't know. All the syrups are made in house. All the juices are squeezed in house. So that's kind of an Unico brand standard.
Mhm.
When you're looking at 2087, you have a bit more space, like Allison was saying, in terms of we have a dedicated wedding venue that's a little more isolated. Whereas with 2105, you're going to have the beach, you're going to have the Agua Madre Terrace, or you're going to have the rooftop, which is only available after 7 p.m., right? So you have some different options. But with 2087, you have this beautiful beach. One of my favorite parts about the beach is that we maintain the mangroves in between the hotel and the beach. So there's bridges that take you onto the sand. So it feels like you're coming out into an oasis every single time you go out to the beach. Uh, so 2087 has more swim out options, but both come with local hosts, which I think is my favorite part of the brand. It's like a personalized concierge. I hesitate to say butler, but it's more like that 9 to 5 concierge that can help you with dining reservations or spa reservations, golf. My favorite thing is I'll say, hey, my local host was Luis at 2105. I said, hey, Luis, I'm going back to my room around 4 o'clock. Want to get in the tub. Come to my room at 4 o'clock. Tub is hot, ready, bubbles. I don't have to fill it up, and it's amazing. So definitely utilize that. And just getting back to the local, I mean, we have all the art is made by local artists and artisans. We have tapestries, we have tables, all made locally, all of the lighting fixtures. But my favorite is the handmade straw hats that every guest gets to take home.
Mhm.
And we actually have artists by the pool who will paint on those, really customize it for you. So it's a one of a kind take home
Yeah,
souvenir.
it's a great experience.
Yeah.
So, and then the other Hard Rocks that we did not talk about is in Los Cabos, and that's another fun little
Such a
gem.
gem.
That's
That's
one
one of our
of my favorites. That's one of my favorites. I think just because the way the pools are laid out,
Yes.
Yeah.
where you have that adult pool that, certain times of the year you can just sit there and watch the whales jumping out. And I mean that's kind of that ambience. I really liked that.
I fell in love with Hard Rock Los Cabos. We did our sales meeting, the whole team. So they do events so well. They threw a beach bonfire for us with like the teepees and just that free spirit vibe. It was beautiful. They roasting of marshmallows and s'mores. Super cool. Lots of wonderful rooftop venues at Los Cabos. So for our couples that maybe they want the tropical beach for the vacation, but they don't want to be toes in the sand when they're saying their vows, but they want to see the ocean. We have at least two of those rooftop venues, so they can wear their heels and still see the water.
And then something new that is new to the collection that we um, have is Ava, which is back in Cancun, about 10 minutes from the airport. So really close. It's a huge property, but why don't we talk a little bit about that property because it is so unique and different compared to your typical like Hard Rock.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, Ava, I think one of the highlights is going to be the food is on par with our Unico product in
Yeah.
terms of every restaurant has its own dedicated executive chef that specializes in that cuisine. So when you go to the French restaurant, that was my first time ever hearing a French accent speaking Spanish. The gentleman is from France. That is his specialty. That is his. So each restaurant has its own executive chef, its own bathrooms, its own bars, its own menus, its own cutlery. So there's not one mass-produced product. So the food is definitely a highlight. It is all oceanfront rooms, which I think is one of my favorite parts because there's nobody's going to have a view of the parking lot or the garden or the next hotel over, which there's not. So you have these beautiful ocean views, oceanfront views in every single room category. And then, of course, there's the bay. So we have built our own 2.8 acre saltwater bay. It's Crystal Lagoon technology. So if you want to go paddleboarding, if you want, which is very difficult, by the way, I had no idea. I was like, I'll just hop up, and no.
And lots of core strength.
Yeah,
Your core, if you do that for 15 minutes, your abs are on fire.
girl, I couldn't stand up for two. Um, uh, and then, there's an obstacle course, so many things for kids. There's an arcade, there's the multi-level kids club, and then for the teens, they have their own separate teens club. And I love that they're not together so that the teens really feel like they're on in their own space.
Right.
But we have an adults only pool, adults only day club, adults only nightclub, two adults only restaurants. So again, for that multi-generational group where some people want to be around kids, some people don't want to be around kids,
That's
there's
something
an
to
option for
offer.
everybody. And I'm going to challenge Allison because I think that Ava has the better gym than Punta Cana.
Do
Uh,
you?
I love the Ava gym. It's so clean. Listen, I walk
Yes,
into that
it's
gym,
great.
I feel
Yes.
rich. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like I feel like my
And
muscles are getting bigger from being in there.
and there's the different rooms. Like they have the room with like the TRX and like a boxing
Yeah.
room, like a personal training room. There's little like side areas, a yoga studio. Yes. I mean, when we go, my first year as a BDM, I was like living at these resorts, hosting FAMs, events, all the things. You got to get in your routines, like a green juice in the morning, go to the gym. Yes, the Ava gym is fabulous. So I'm my little side passion. I'm a yoga teacher. They have the greatest spot for their yoga classes. I think it's about at 8 or 9 in the morning, a little grassy area with an ocean front. And it's at the north side of the resort, all the way to the left. They also do use that as a wedding venue, I think for about 30 people max. Fabulous. I love, love, love how focused on also like our Hard Rocks, like a work hard, play hard type of place.
Mhm.
You want to eat all the food, drink all the drinks, but let's sweat it out in the morning.
And I will
And
say
this,
that French restaurant at Ava is to die for.
It is.
I never got a chance to have that one yet. I've been, I think, to all the other ones, but not that one. But
Well, you're missing out, Carol. You got to go to Ava.
I
The
guess we
It's
got to go
French
back.
is good.
say,
Yeah.
I mean, they did some really great events. Besides the fact when we were there for weddings event, we've been there for that. And then I went back and redid my wedding training this year because I've been doing this a long time. But as I told my BDM, it's always good to still get on property and get around and see them. And then we were there as well for showstoppers, so we get to see all the events that they can do. And it just blew me away, all the stuff that they can do in a short period of time because there's enough room and space everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes. So you went to all in weddings this year, Carol, right?
I did. Yeah, I went back. Yep. And I stayed at the Hard Rock. And I
Yep. And we had
rooms. I had an updated room. It was beautiful and great views. But it had been a while since I'd been to the Hard Rock Cancun. So to see the events that they could throw there was great. I mean, it was a great, like I said, again, because I mean, I've been doing this a long time, but sometimes it's just good to get a refresher and
Yeah.
sit back in and you get that aha that I never thought about that. Because you just do, you get used to doing what you do and then you forget about some of the things. So it's always good
I think
for a refresher.
yeah, we love when people do their, every 5 years or so come back to all in weddings and get retrained. That rain was crazy that week. And so two of the three events had to be pivoted at the last minute due to rain. And it's still, you would never know.
No,
They just
they did it.
the night with the Day of the Dead party, that was supposed to be outside. They pivoted. It was perfect.
Yep.
But
So,
and
Yeah,
that's important to know because one of the questions people always ask us and or we'll bring up during consultations when we're doing weddings is what if it rains? So it's nice to be able to work with resorts that are able to pivot, due to weather and everything.
quickly.
But one of the things that I love about AIC, the resorts are wonderful, but let's dive in a little bit about your wedding program because it has so much to offer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. I can take the lead on that. So This was my role before, is helping brides choose their resort consults, pairing them, with the budget that's gonna fit with their dream vision. We do our packages quite a bit different than other brands.
Yep.
And for some that might be a little confusing. We don't have a package here that we say it's $10,000 and it covers 20 people and it's a ceremony, it's a cocktail hour, and a reception for X
Right.
amount. So we do not have a package that is all listed out. However, if you take the time to look at the packages we do offer and understand it, I feel like it eventually makes sense. And we give a lot of freebies. So everyone wants that. How do we get this wedding down in cost? So we earn our event hours based on the amount of rooms booked through the travel advisor. So for example, for a Southeast Asian wedding where they're having multiple days of events, and large wedding parties, we can earn all of that. 5-hour events on multiple days. And that's inclusive of the private event space, all the staff to serve the group, food, alcohol, the open bar, tables, chairs, just things like decor, DJ, photography, those extra vendors would not be included in these event hours. And we always offer a free ceremony for up to 32 people. And then we can add on. If we have more than 32, we add extra chairs. That's a very small cost. And I love that we have allinweddings.com. So this is a public facing site. Our couples can look on it. We have a live date calendar, which is super cool because we know that people sometimes want a very particular day. We can look on that calendar and be like, oh, great, it's available at Hard Rock Riviera Maya and Ava. And we know that right there. We're not waiting for an email back from the property. We also have a cool cost calculator, which you can kind of put in like all your dreams and wishes into this calculator, and
Yeah.
it gives you an estimate. So you can be like, if I want my budget to be around 15,000, what is that going to look like?
Mhm.
So yeah, I just think we just present our information really like forthcoming, and it's really, really great. The couples get to feel very involved in the planning of their day.
Yeah.
I
And what
love
I like
the
about,
fact that,
Go
oh,
ahead.
go
I
ahead.
was going to say, like with the collections, you have those brides that they can't visualize doing things a la carte.
Mhm.
So the collections are so nice that they'd be like, oh, okay, now I can visualize what everything is going to look like. And the fact that you offer so many different types of collections, there's something for everybody and their taste too.
Yes. And we can modify those as well. Like I would be a free spirit girly at a Hard Rock, but then
I
I'm like, oh, I
was.
want a couple of the flowers in that modern
Yeah.
enchantment package, and we can change that. So that's another thing when working with couples on their vision. If the collection's not looking quite everything they want, we can change that for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
So my wife and I were big nerds. Um, and so we had I don't want to say a themed wedding, but there were some elements of Harry Potter in
Mhm.
there. So like we took the package, the free spirit package, and then we added a couple things. We also basically threw a Pinterest board at our planner, and I love that our planners are actually in our Miami office. So you're working with somebody here, with your travel advisor, and we have you have multiple points of contact here in the States before you even get to the property. So that way, your advisor is always going to be the best person to have these contacts because you can come to Alice and myself, your planner, where we have your back there. So we gave this Pinterest board, and they came back with quotes from all these different, like we had these dreams of hanging candles and a starry ceiling, and they made it happen, and they made it happen in budget. And yes, there were some things where we're like, okay, I guess we got to get rid of the 3-hour fireworks, fine, because you start big
What
Yeah.
was
and
that?
then you pare down
$40,000?
per minute.
No, I think
Fireworks are expensive.
What was that party starter vendor you had?
Oh,
Tell
you
us
have to
about
do
that.
an hora loca.
Yeah, or look, yeah, I
The
think
hora loca, we have great vendors for that. And basically what that is it's that moment post food. The bride and groom have just done their rounds. Okay, DJ's trying to get the party started. All of a sudden, music cuts, and then you hear the drums, and they come in and they start the party. You got dancers, you got people on stilts, you got all sorts of, and it depending on what package you choose, it can be as big or as small as you want, but it really gets the party going.
Yeah.
I've had multiple people tell me that my wedding was the most fun they've ever had, and I believe it because it was a ball.
yeah, I
Well, and
think
I tell this to my couples all the time. It's all about the experience.
that,
No one's going to go back to work after your wedding and talk to their coworkers about, oh, I went to this destination wedding in Cancun and you should have seen these floral centerpieces. They're going to be talking about the Ora Loca and,
yes.
the cigar rollers and, the fireworks and all those elements that you can add on, making your wedding so unique.
And
Mhm.
I think the other thing that's nice is, a lot of the resorts, they don't offer the opportunity to get started. There's a few, but not all. To get started planning right away, they can do the diamond package and step up and they can pay that extra fee and get started right away. Same with picking their vendor, the area location they want. They can go ahead and reserve that by just prepaying a little bit ahead of time so they know exactly where they're at versus having to wait. You defer in that some resorts automatically give you your vendor location, others do not. But there's some opportunities that if they want to, I think that's kind of sets you guys apart as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like honestly from on the other side of helping couples, our normal planning will start at 6 months before if you do not get that diamond planning package for $1,000 fee. However, I mean I've encountered resorts that start 2 to 3 months before, so six is not bad. And I mean the reason we're doing this is, if we book a wedding a year and a half in advance, what you want a year and a half before your day might differ from 6 months. So what's the point of getting everything laid out and getting all the quotes on the vendors when your mind might change? So that's the whole thing with the 6 months of, you have a little bit clearer vision at that point in time. But
You don't have your numbers yet either. I mean,
exactly.
your numbers are getting closer, you're in that,
Mhm.
that 90 day, 6 months, you can start working on things. And then when you hit that final payment period of 190 days before, which that's how we set ours up so that we have plenty of time, then the guest has the number of, exactly the kind of their count. And then that makes it easier to get the final budget and everything done quicker that way.
And
Exactly.
to all the brides watching, have your guests book their room early, please, for everybody's sake. It'll help your budget. It'll help your travel advisor's sanity. Just please get them to book a little early. But on top of that, you'll know what benefits you're getting. Because, like Allison mentioned, you're earning free nights, you're earning free upgrades, you're earning free events based on how many people come. So we call it the rooms, right? Or the room nights. So if you're there for 5 nights in one room, that's 5 room nights. So you can earn upgrades based on that. You can earn free events. You can have, multiple multi-hour events complimentary. Now, of course, that doesn't include it's just a white decor kind of standard across the board. And you can pay to zhuzh it up, or you can have a white party. I mean, do whatever suits you best. But we do offer these options. And then the food, it's an all-inclusive. So we're going to give you food, drinks. We're going to give you drinks. Like these are things that are standard. And then we don't charge you for the setup and the breakdown. That's already in that in that inclusion where some other places are going to charge you. They're going to charge you per plate, and it's like, why? We're already here. They're going to charge you per, for drinks, a drink setup, and this and that. So your dollar goes a little bit farther with us all across the board, but we're not a budget item at all. Like I
Right.
think we provide an amazing service. I think anybody who's seen my wedding video, and I'll share it with you ladies, is can see that we put on an amazing production. At the end of the day, with Hard Rock, we're rooted in music, and we can create these amazing experiences across the board. But even our Unico weddings, my first wedding I ever officiated was at Unico, and I was completely
Is that
nervous.
your side hustle, Dan?
If you need an officiant, I'm happy to help.
I love that.
No,
Yeah.
and it was just it was beautiful. It was elegant. It was exactly what you would want your wedding to be, if you don't have any kids to come, because of course Unico is our adults only product. But it was gorgeous. So they put on these beautiful events. I know I'm on a tangent. I apologize, but
Oh, no,
the
this is great.
Unico 2087 has this wonderful venue that's completely away from the rooms. So if you're the type of people that need that 2, 3, 4 a.m., I dare say, event, you can do that at that particular venue. So there is a place for the quiet and the relax. There is a place for the fun and the party. And so it's almost like at Hard Rock, the action's there and you can find that quiet relaxation. Whereas Unico, you're going to find that it's a little more quiet, but you can find that party and that action. It's there as well. So depending on the vibe that you're looking for your guests, there's something within our collection that will fit you.
I want to mention too the nightclubs that are on our properties, which are great for these multi-generational weddings, group travel too. Yeah, a lot of brides are not going to want the party to end at 10 or 11. We have a couple options. We can either extend the private events for about $50 per person per hour if it's in a venue where we don't have any noise restrictions. Um, or we can move a private after party into one of our ballroom spaces if they did have an outside venue. Or a free option, everyone loves that. Hard Rock Riviera Maya, Hard Rock Punta Cana, Hard Rock Los Cabos, and Ava all have nightclubs right there on property. So anyone that wants to keep the party going, we'll just gonna shuffle them into the club. And there you are. That's free. DJ's going on. We're never gonna shut one of our nightclubs down if we've got a wedding on property. That club will be open for that after party.
Yeah. And that's a great, thing because you got those people that, all right, we've partied all night, we're ready to go back to the room. And then you got the other part of the crowd that's like, all right, the party's just getting started. So
Yeah.
it's great to have those resorts that have that nightclub option for them. So like, as you can see, like AIC just offers so much. And then Carol and I are both with destinationweddings.com. And besides all the perks that Dan and Allison just kind of talked about with all your event hours, because of our affiliation with destinationweddings.com, we have a special promo where you can save up to an additional $4,000 off your wedding if you're doing one of the collections, which is another huge savings. Plus our signature promotion with destinationweddings.com to save up to an additional $2,500. So between the perks that you'll receive by working with Carol and I through destinationweddings.com and everything that AIC is offering, guys, it's a no-brainer. Like AIC is like the way to go.
And the other thing is when Dan, you're talking about getting booking early in that, I know myself, and I'm sure Mindy does it as well. It's that, we always tell the bride, that first 30 days, tell your guests to book in that first 30 days because they're going to be guaranteed the room that they want, the dates they want, because, we've got a select group of rooms for this point. Then we can add rooms, yes, but there's never a guarantee because just like any time of the year, if you're going to get married in March, I mean, I have one in March of 27 at Ava. We've already booked it. And I'm like, 30 rooms. And she's like, well, we might have more. And I'm like, well, you better get going. I mean, I just constantly, because, that's a busy time. March is a busy
Yeah.
time for you guys. So I think that's important. The other important thing that I like about AIC, which as an agent, we all like, is that about the events, if they book outside the group, the bride and groom have to pay, or the couple has to pay, or the guests have to pay to attend the events. I think that's a great support to us as the agency group from you guys, to keep the group together because it gives the bride the extra events and the extra nights and things that she wants as well.
Yeah, at the end of the day, they're gonna earn that back, right? If they stay
Yeah.
within the group block. And generally, savings are minimal. If they're going outside of a room block, it might be just a fluke. So you're better off doing the right thing, staying within the one booking source. It helps everybody.
Mhm. And I don't know. I'm sure there's some other brands that do have that kind of level of protection for the advisor. I mean, because nothing's worse, and it's terrible for the couple if they have their guests summer booked with their travel advisor they've hired, and then we've got some booked on the Resort Direct, some booked on Expedia, all the things. Like that couple has no idea what's going on, what amount of nights their guests are staying. It just causes another like headache for them.
And
So
it
I do feel
also,
Well,
like
and
our program
it's be
helps.
costing them like thousands of dollars of perks that they're missing out on. And then I joke around with my couples when we talk about this because we have a deep conversation about this before, their wedding website goes live. And I'm like, how aggressive do you want me to be on this? Because literally they can be losing out on so much money. Like, what if you needed one more room booking to bring you into the next tier of something? Like that
Yeah.
person, and then you could be looking at that person all weekend long, being like, it was you that just like made me have to pay for this,
and yeah, and the other thing is that, when this happens, like I've got a wedding group that's closing out, and all of a sudden I get a call from somebody and says, "Hey, where are my transfers at?" And I'm like, "Transfers? Who, you didn't book with us. I didn't even know you were part of the wedding party, and nor did I don't know if the bride, I mean, she sees the list, but evidently she knew that they were booked out, but we can't help them either if
Right.
something happens. I mean, or if something happens in their, they need to go back to whoever they are. They might miss the wedding event. It just, people don't understand that, when you do a wedding, it's very important that you stay within that block just for the bride and groom as well for the travel plans. It's not like an ordinary vacation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
as
nothing
like
worse than not knowing, you know, oh, I did tell you I was coming and now we're two short chairs short at the ceremony.
Mhm.
yeah. Do you both offer different packages for your couples on like whether you travel with them or different like services?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
got it.
I
we
mean,
do.
when we have the initial consultation, I like to have a Zoom with my couples,
Nice.
Yeah.
but sometimes, I mean, I have booked people all by text, which is not my preferable way, but I have, and I've done it by emails. But I feel like if you get that one-on-one connection and that initial Zoom, and then they really know where you're standing, and and then that's at the point in time that we discuss if they want us to come. It all depends on the numbers as well.
Yeah.
I think the larger the group, the more important it might be to have somebody else
Mhm.
there, because you guys do a great job on property. That's not really necessary. If I have a group of like 35 people and she's pretty laid back bride, they can do it themselves.
Exactly.
I mean, just get maybe a gal Friday to be that person that runs around and makes sure that, or somebody that's really organized that takes that little bit of that feel off of you.
Yeah.
And I think it's just important that they know that even the couples that, their guests need to contact us, not the couples when they have issues, because that's a really important thing as well. But I think that's my thought anyways. I don't know about you, Mindy, but I think the bigger the wedding, the more reason. So
Mhm.
Yeah, and also from the guest perspective, it's so funny because like we'll be talking to these guests sometimes like for a year, depending on how far out these weddings have been booked, and the guests just assume we work for that resort. So they're like, "Oh, we can't wait to see you at the wedding," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm not going
Yeah,
to
I'm
be
not gonna be
there."
there.
gonna be there.
But when you have groups, especially these larger groups, it is nice to have somebody on site just to kind of keep everything uniform. Like if there's any issues with rooms or a guest needs something, or just being there also to assist that wedding planner. Like, and when I'm on property and Carol's the same way, it's like I let that like on-site team know this is your house. I'm a guest, but I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
So it really does. I think they appreciate it too.
I think, the South Asian weddings, those are a real big one that needs somebody there. I really do.
Yeah.
With that many day events, it tends to be a more of a guest thing than it does a bride and groom thing. I mean,
Mhm.
it's more of a guest thing. I think that the reason for being there, it takes that alleviation of people coming up to them all the time.
Yeah.
Um, and I know I do some different things as far as when I am on site. Usually I meet the people as they come in. And so then they have my contact information. So they know that if they have a room issue, they have, they know that they can get a hold of me. If the bride wants a guest bag, I give them the guest bag, that kind of thing. And then I'm just kind of there, just like I said, to help the person on property, nothing more, nothing more.
Yeah. And one thing I want to mention, we will meet, or at least I will, with our agents and a potential couple. So if a couple is like, I want to lean in and do this wedding in Mexico, but it's making me a little nervous that like I haven't met the people at the resort. I know at least I will hop on with the agent and meet the couple and just,
That's great.
answer any questions. You two are, our products. But for advisors new to selling AIC weddings and they want me on the call, we'll absolutely do that, which I just know really eases the couple's anxiety because it is nerve-wracking planning something in another country, bringing all your closest friends and family
Mhm.
and being like, I haven't even been there maybe, or I haven't
Yeah,
met anyone from the resort. So, we can
I
always
think
chat with a couple.
we
Yeah, I
appreciate
think our
that.
whole team will do that.
Yeah.
But I think that you ladies in particular, you have your expertise, but you also have your relationship with us.
Yeah.
So we're always happy to help you and your clients in any way that we can, to get that across the finish line. And just going back to the invites and all that, I just want to remind you that whenever you're inviting people, when you're doing a wedding in the States, you're like, this is going to be this much for this person, this much for this person. First cuts, second cuts, third cuts. When you're doing destination wedding, invite everybody. I mean, your mom's coworker, hell yeah, come on down. We want to make sure that we get as many room comps and free events and all those things, and invite everybody and see what sticks. So that's just my advice. That's what I did, um, and it really helps out.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'd like to thank you guys for spending your time today. I know you guys are busy. I know you're very busy, so I appreciate your time today.
Well,
Yes,
thanks for having us.
absolutely.
Yeah, this was fun.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
first podcast. I appreciate it.
Oh, we feel so honored.
Yes.
Yeah,
I-
we're new to it too, but yeah, we're doing our
Yeah.
best.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I told my partner, I was like, I have to get camera ready. He was like, you're just something else. But this was really fun. Thank you for having us.
No, we appreciate it. And, it's just nice to have these casual conversations, just diving into what you have to offer because it is a lot of information when you're looking at different packages and trying to understand the products and all right, this location and that location and so it really does help. And we're here to educate everybody and help them make these informed decisions. So any last parting words that you want to share about your resorts? Like if Dan, if you had to do it all over again, would you still pick Hard Rock Riviera Maya?
Well, Ava wasn't built at the time. So I think it would probably be a toss up between Ava and Hard Rock Riviera Maya. Um, at the end of the day, you also have to think about your guests, right? Because for me, as much as I would love to just do everything luxury, and be the spoiled man that I am, there is an element of, okay, maybe not my entire family can afford that Ava
It's
price point, and Hard Rock Riviera Maya is a more manageable price point.
right.
So I think from that perspective, at that point in my life, right, where most of my friends were all kind of entry level in their jobs and everything, yeah, I would probably pick more of the Hard Rock. But right now with Ava running the free kids, it might even out, So it all depends on that perspective. From an amenity standpoint, it would be a toss up, honestly. But yeah, I'd probably stick with Hard Rock just because that's more my family's personality. We're a little crazy.
Yeah. What about you, Allison? Which one's your favorite of all the properties?
For vacation, definitely Unico. I fell in love with Unico in 2019 when I was working on the agency side and I went on a fam trip and I never looked back. I booked so many people at that resort. I've been there now like maybe 7 times. Um, I absolutely love it. I'm obsessed with it. It does not feel like an all-inclusive resort at all. It's so, so, so special. I have great memories just like with my partner. I went with my best friend, had a little bit more fun with my best friend there. I don't know. It's just it checks all the boxes. for my future wedding, I would, like Dan, have a hard time choosing between Ava and Hard Rock Riviera Maya. So stay tuned.
Yes.
One last thing. If I lived on the West Coast, Cabo would be my answer.
Yes.
It's just for me
Yeah.
geographically, it's a longer trip. But if Cabo was in Cancun, like that hotel, I would go there
Same.
10 times in a
Same.
row.
We're in Chicago, so we have to do Cancun. We gotta get everyone there with like a direct flight, and that's that.
And that's all the part of the logistics of a destination wedding too, is where's everybody coming from? Because obviously the goal is to have them in destination longer than they're in an airport.
Yeah.
So,
True.
well, thank you guys so much. We really do appreciate it. So,
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
yes.
And we'll be back next week. I'm not really sure who we're having next week. We haven't made that decision, I don't think
I
yet.
don't think we have.
No, so hopefully we'll surprise you next week with our next guest, or it'll just be Mindy and I picking another great resort to talk about.
Yes, and you can find us on YouTube. You can also go to our website, www.destinationweddingtalk.com. We'd love to hear your thoughts. If you have an idea for a podcast, find us on Facebook and TikTok. So enjoy. Thank you.
Yeah. Goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more wedding inspiration and tips. Visit us at destinationweddingtalk.com for resources and updates. And as always, send us your questions to Mindy and Carol. We love hearing from you. Join us again next week for the latest episode of Wedding Talk with Mindy and Carol. Until then, happy planning.